Welcome back to the Stoked Metabolic podcast. I'm your host, Coach Tom. Super excited that you guys are here with me. As always, we talk everything health, fitness, and wellness, and a lot about the mental journey along the way. So today, it's going to be more of a mental journey one, more of a diary from Coach Tom, more introspective episode. But it's about my journey and how I went from fluff to fit. And that's what I'm going to title this one. How I went to fluff from fit to fit. And really just gonna, if you're a new listener, I hope you listen to this one because it's gonna give you why I'm so passionate about fitness, why I want to see people achieve their fitness goals, why I want to help people achieve their fitness goals. It's an important one to me. So I'm glad you're here and hope you enjoy. Let's dive right in. So way back when I was a high school boy, I didn't have these wrinkles. I got hat hair. I didn't have these gray hairs if you're watching the video version. And, I was a young man. And I found some pictures of myself when I was lean. If you're watching the video, I'll try to drop them in here. Found some when I was lean. And then I found some where I was not so lean. And I remember right around middle school was when I started gaining the weight. And it was just a little bit at a time. And I held my weight funny. I held it a lot right here, which led to some uncomfortable nicknames, led to I'll just say it. I got called bitch tits. Wasn't cool. I can guarantee I'm in a lot better shape than most of the people that picked on me when I was little. But I mean, this is one of the core reasons why I'm passionate about getting young kids into fitness early on in life, because I didn't, and not for lack of trying by my parents. My dad tried to get me into the gym for years, and it just wasn't something that hit me. It wasn't something I was into. Around sixth, seventh grade was when I started wearing the t-shirt into the pool, started to lose confidence and just not feel good about myself. It's hard for a young man to go through and deal with. And I might get, a little emotional just thinking back on it, but I can't say I'm not proud of where I am today. So it's all part of the journey. And that's what I want to discuss today, the journey. But high school kind of went further down that path. I ended up picking up some bad habits. I was a smoker. I smoked not cigarettes. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm never going to be that coach that tells you that I am, 100% strict on everything. And, I'm a drill sergeant, but I used to, indulge in some of the other herbal supplements in my youth. And that just led to eating more. And I ate more and more and more. And, you go into the college years and still you're just like, all right, now we can introduce drinking to the mix. And that didn't help. And, just put me in a bad place. And we'll toy it up to being young and stupid and a learning experience. It's the past. It's the past. But again, I just want to always be transparent and let you know who you're dealing with and who I am and why I am where I am today. So to put this gently, to put this one gently, I was a mess. I was a mess, but I was also dating somebody who was equally a mess, and she was a violent mess and liked to start problems and start fights with people no matter where you went. You could have given the girl a bag of gold and I think she would have started a fight with somebody. Let's not focus too much on the past, but we're at a local bar, Molly Darcy's, and shooting pool, and conversation happened. A conversation happened with these gentlemen that we were playing pool against. The next thing I know, I get cracked across the back with a pool cue and I'm getting pummeled and just hit left and right. And sorry, Coda's getting a little wriggly. We've been recording a couple episodes. You'll see if you watch them. I'm in the same shirt, same hat. Didn't even bother changing. But I got the ever-loving crap kicked out of me. And, that's never fun. That wasn't cool. But it happens. It happens. I think, what's that quote? Sometimes you need a good swift kick in the ass to wake up, or everybody needs a good swift kick in the ass. I don't know. It'll come to me the second I stop this episode. And I got mine. I got it handed to me. And I woke up the next day and I said, I never want to feel like this again. I never want to go through this again. I never want somebody to beat me up. So I started working out. I started from a very terrible place. I signed up for a gym the next day, got rid of the bad baggage because, that's not good to have in your life, that kind of negativity, and decided it was time to start new. And I signed up for a gym, New York Sports Club. Went in, and I've mentioned this in prior podcasts. Just like most people going into a gym the first time, I had no idea what I was doing. And it took 3 months for me to work out the confidence to even go onto the weight floor. I'd walk on the treadmill, started at 30 minutes. So I'd watch an episode of Jeopardy because I went at about 7 o'clock, watch Jeopardy. Eventually scaled that up. We were watching Jeopardy and The Wheel. And, I scaled that time on the treadmill. I never ran. I just walked. And I mean, it was probably the most movement my body had gotten in a long time. So it was good. It felt good. It helped good, but it didn't get me to where I wanted to be. And I started getting a little vision on, I want to be stronger. I don't want to lack confidence. I want to feel good. So I attempted to start lifting weights. And I'm one of those guys who will buy like $100. And, as I started recording this podcast, I'm reading articles on building an in-house podcast studio. You see, like, I got a new mic and I got a little hangy thing. And like, how can I, and I read and I'm reading and reading. And I bought the Arnold Schwarzenegger new encyclopedia of modern bodybuilding. I think I still have it in the little cabinet behind me. And it's like this. It is a thick book. I read through the whole damn thing before I touched the weight. And I was like, I'm ready. Still don't know what the hell I was doing. So I went in and I'm like just going through the motions, not knowing what I'm doing. And that's all right. I was doing things I had never done before and it was uncomfortable, but I started to enjoy it after a while. I'm like, this sucks. Oh my God, I got to do more. And then there was like a quantum shift and things started changing where I'm like, I'm not dreading to come into this place anymore. I feel confident. Yesterday I lifted 10 pounds and today I'm lifting 15 pounds. I want to try 20 pounds next week. And I just started to feel a lot better, feel a lot stronger. And just, it was cool. It was cool. It was something that never happened to me in 20, 23, 24 years of life whenever I started. And I was like, this is great. Like, this is fun. I feel good about something for once. Like this, you should feel good in life, right? And quickly turned to obsession. And the wild part is I'm getting stronger. I'm feeling stronger and that's cool. But I'm looking in the mirror and I'm still the same fat kid. I still got my movies. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, damn, how am I doing wrong? What is going on here? And I realized I didn't know a thing about nutrition. So I read every little thing about nutrition. I'm reading Men's Health on the regular. Like they couldn't release issues fast enough. I'm like, and there's always like some recipe in there, some delicious, healthy recipe. And I'm like, I got to go get these ingredients. I got to cook this. I got to make this. And this is like, just diving on in and like, dude, still didn't lose any weight. So I really started looking up all this stuff and I'm like, all right, more protein. And somebody told me about keto. And I'm like, we're going to try that. We're going to try keto to lose the weight, man. I did keto the worst possible way. I would go into the mall and I would get an Arby's sandwich and dump the bun out. I was eating the extra large one with like a slab of roast beef and some of that cheese drizzle they put on there. And I'm expecting to lose weight. But then eventually, like I started switching over to the more natural stuff, the realer stuff, and I started to see my body transform. And that was even cooler. So I eventually got to the point where I was like, man, I want to say I was down to like 8 or 9% body fat. And I went from, no, I think I want to say I got down to like 5 or 6. I lost a lot of, muscle during that. I felt weaker as I was dieting down, and that happens. That's time for another episode. Lost a lot of muscle during this period. And as I lost the muscle, I got lean, but I felt weaker and I was like, I don't really want to feel weaker. But I got to a point where I went from this kid who never wanted to take his shirt off to this dude who was like, yo, I don't want to put a shirt on. Like, I think I went on a cruise. My first cruise, I went on Carnival Cruise and I had the shirt off like 99% of the time. They're like, sir, you can't be in the buffet without a shirt. And I'm like, nah, it's cool. Like, I'm good. Now, I'm like, ooh, World Sexiest Man Contest, sign me up. Let's do it, Carnival Cruise. Woo! Oh, we're going to send your frogs in Mexico. I don't got to wear a shirt up in here either. Beautiful. I got to be a cocky little arrogant pain in the ass. I still am. Hope you still love me for it, guys and gals. But, that's just this. I'm just being me, man. Just being me. And it's all good. So I said after that, getting all lean and stuff, and hopefully I can find that picture too. I said I want to gain some muscle again, and I started really educating myself about nutrition because coming off of keto, I put a lot of weight back on. I put a lot of weight back on, and I constantly went into this state of body dysmorphia. And I'm like, I'm never lean enough. I'm never, I'm never. If I'm trying to gain muscle, I lose the abs, and I'm never happy. And I went into this really sick cycle, and I turned a beautiful thing of like discovering health and fitness and nutrition into something ugly, and that wasn't fun. And I'm like, how do I do this? How do I find the joy again, and in a sustainable way where I'm not miserable all the time and I'm like counting every calorie? And so I started just learning about fueling the body for what you're doing. And I'm lifting heavy weights. I got to be eating enough protein. I got to be getting some carbs in to rebuild the muscle, but I don't need some of the other garbage. And really, it was finding this delicate balancing act. And I started researching nutrition, and people are like, dude, to see how far you've come in 5 years, like, have you considered doing this for a living? And I'm like, really, me? Like this little fat kid, man? Hey, how you doing up there? And I'm like, it's not, I don't think for me, like, am I that guy? Could I do that? And I toyed with it. I toyed with it for a while. And eventually, this is going on 10 years ago. I was moving out of Connecticut, and I decided, it's time to uproot my life, move down to Florida. And it's probably not more than 10 years, probably 12 years at this point. It's time, I'm going to move to Florida. I want to be in the sunshine. I want to be happy and get vitamin D and do all these things I enjoy. Be like 5 minutes from Disney World. It's be great. Universal Studios. I live like 5 minutes from there. That was cool too. Right before I left, I took a personal training certification. I said, I'm going to do it. I'm uprooting my life anyway. Let's just do it. And I had money in the bank. I felt comfortable. I felt confident. And man, that certification I got, nobody told me it was the worst possible certification you can get. Like they give a paper certificate to like anybody. It was like the national, I don't even remember the name of it. It was something. They email me every once in a while trying to renew it. I'm like, I could walk into the garbage of garbage gyms and get a job with this thing. I'm like, it ain't happening. So from there, I ended up going right back to what I was doing. I spent the next 4 years in corporate logistics. And I remember, if you listen to this, this story before, St. Patrick's Day rolled around, and I was like, I don't want to do this shit anymore. I'm miserable. Like, I'm waking up 5 a.m. and I'm working out, and then I go and I'm miserable for 8 hours. And I walked in, I pulled into the parking lot, and then somebody came at me with something, and I was like, "Nah, I'm good." And they were like, "Excuse me?" I'm like, "No, I'm cool. Like, I'm done. Today's my last day. Thank you guys. I appreciate everybody. You've all been great to work with, but this just isn't me. It's not for me." And I said, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go do something to enjoy. So I spent the next 3 months by the pool in Florida, draining my bank account, which was super smart. Drained my bank account, sitting by the pool. But I got certified with the National Academy of Sports Medicine, NASM, one of the top certifications. I got that, passed my exam, and I was just like, this is awesome. Walked into like 20 gyms, still couldn't find a job because I had no experience. I was a 30-year-old with corporate experience, and they're like, yeah, we want to, and I look great. I look great at the time, man. So they weren't hiring on the image. I feel good about myself the way I look, but they were like, we want, young trainers that have experience. And I'm like, man, I'm a young trainer. I got 30 ain't old. You're crazy. Get the hell out of here. And so I ended up, almost giving up the search, started putting out applications to not just gyms, but back into corporate logistics and all sorts of stuff like that. And I was like, man, really hope that I'm ready for this change. And I got a phone call from a group fitness franchisee guy owned a fitness studio, and took me in for an audition. And I sucked I got the job. They trained me up, and so paranoid. Like, I was so panicked about it. I think I went back into my old not confident ways, because I'm like, I'm not an expert in this. I don't know my shit like I did corporate logistics. And I had imposter syndrome. And after that, I was put on a 3-month notice. Like, dude, you're almost at 90 days. If you don't get this, we got to go to somebody else. I'm sorry. And I just dove in and started learning and learning and learning from everybody else there. I started getting good, and I'm feeling confident now. And I'm feeling, back to feeling a little cocky because, that's how Coach Tom does. And I started feeling good about it. And once that happened, people started coming to my classes and we started filling the room. And, the ownership takes notice. I was, a couple of years after that, I was promoted to a head coach. So ran the location for them on the fitness side. A couple of years after that, I was promoted to their regional of fitness. So I handled 2 locations for them, making sure fitness was under control. And, management experience kind of came into a big play there and really helped me out. A couple of years after that, franchise was sold. Now I had already hired a head coach for both locations. So I now didn't have a job. So I'm like in this role because they didn't have a role for a regional. There was somebody already doing the job, and love her, she did a great job at it. And I was like, went into this holding pattern, but I'm like, you know what? We're good. We've grown. We will grow again. That's always what we've done. Adjust, adapt, and just keep moving forward and keep moving forward and keep moving onward. And I Coda. And we did that. I think I sat in that holding pattern for a good year and a half, and the franchise ended up growing. So we went from 4 studios to 9 studios. And my counterpart, the girl that trained me, she took over one half of Orlando. I took over the other. So I had 5, or I had 4, she had 5. And I was like, wow, this is going back into, leadership, because I like to lead. And that's why I'm a coach. Like, we like to lead people to success. Start, 4 there. A couple of years went on, she went and started her own business. Pretty awesome. But they were like, I ended up taking over the other 5 studios in Orlando. So that's 9. Then there was another, we're going to get you involved in the South Florida. So I started working out with our teams in South Florida, and that was pretty awesome. And, all during this, COVID started. So COVID came, destroyed the world. And what happens to a studio gym when people can't work out in the studio? You're out of business. You're shut down. And I was freshly, I think when COVID hit, we were in our first year of marriage. And now I'm not just a single person who has to provide for myself, but now I have a family to provide for. I have to make sure I'm giving, my wife that I committed my life to a stable future. My job's out of business. And now this puppy who's bougie, he sit down, bud. He likes his farmer's dog. And he likes his nose kisses, apparently. But, I had to adjust and adapt. And I realized quickly that I had made a decent enough name for myself in the industry that when gyms closed and people were buying up dumbbells and buying up treadmills, they didn't know what the hell to do. And they said, who knows what to do? Coach Tom. So we started Stoked Metabolic, and that was born, out of COVID, out of a necessity to help people stay in shape and keep people moving. Yeah, I'm jumping back. I had pursued a nutrition certification during all this, but I'm a firm believer, like, the gym is going to get you 10% of the way. And I think everyone needs to be on a strength training program. Like, I won't work with you unless you're strength training. And it's a big part of the discipline and, you building muscle and upping your metabolism. But 90% is nutrition. And I watch this in group fitness where people will work out every day and not put any emphasis on nutrition and not make the changes they hope to make. It's not just working out. You got to focus on your nutrition. You got to focus on your recovery. It's a full picture. So got the nutrition involved, and, Stoked Metabolic was born, and it's been just, mind blowing. Now we're tied in. We work with so many people in the Run Disney community, which is amazing for me, because you get people that are suffering from overuse injuries because they're runners, and they don't realize strength training can help with that. We talked about that like 2 episodes ago, and they don't realize like all the benefits that strength training has on your metabolism and all that fun stuff. And I get to teach them, and I get to watch them, say, hey, remember that half marathon I never thought I'd finish? Well, here's my medal, Coach Tom. Thank you for your help. And like, that's the win for me. And it just, to be able to, to have create such an impact over such a wide range and help people has just been, it's brought so much joy into my life. Like, how could I be miserable? How could I be upset? How could I be, that person I was in the corporate world, feeling like such a tool? And, how could I, look, I got a smile on my face talking about it. And, it's just been a beautiful thing, and it's been a beautiful, just being out there to help. And I'm going to cut it there. That's the story. That's who Coach Tom is. Coda looks like he needs a walk or a snack or something. So we'll get out there. I'm going to leave you guys with, just our little plug that our transformation challenge is coming up. I will have the link to the transformation challenge in the show notes. I hope you sign up. I'm going to cap this one because I don't want to get overwhelmed in the summer. And I want to make sure anybody that does it, I provide as much value as possible. If you didn't listen to the last 2 episodes and you're one of my already clients, you're already in. Don't message me. How do I get in? You're in. Please don't pay to join if you're already a paying client and you're in. I'm looking at the mic like you can, you're gonna hear me, like you're gonna see my stern look at you. You will if you're watching the video. You see me staring at the mic. But I wanna help my clients stay accountable over the summer, and I also want to make sure we are impacting more people. And we're going to have a huge grand prize on this one, especially with the amount of signups I'm anticipating. We will cap it out. So grand prize is going to be great, but I've also got a bunch of just smaller prizes lined up. So get into it. If you've ever thought about like adding strength and nutrition into your plan, like just try it out, give it a go. I can guarantee we are going to have a blast, and we're going to provide more value than any of these any of these giant company people that are have a little more backing than I do, and throw out a $20,000 prize. I can't throw out a $20,000 prize, but we're working on a more small business scale, but we definitely want to impact as many lives as possible in this small business. So I hope you consider joining the Transformation Challenge. I hope you watched this whole 23 minutes of me just telling you my whole life, and I've really enjoyed it. And I thank you all for being part of the journey and being here with me. We'll talk soon. Bye.